You really, frankly, have kept us on this story and even ahead of the story throughout because you've been to Iraq even recently. So the real question I have at the moment is, when will we get a better sense of why we did this now? Because General Soleimani was no walk in the park. He did a lot of bad things during his life, but that's been true for some time.
Well, what we're hearing from Pentagon sources is that sometime today we will get information from perhaps the president, but everything that has been indicated so far is that Qasem Soleimani was in Baghdad, came into Baghdad for the specific purpose of overseeing a fairly robust and dangerous attack on U.S. forces and U.S. facilities. If that's the case, it's probably in the best benefit of the president to explain that to the American people so that there is at least some justification for why he took this pretty heavy-handed response.
Do we have a sense of where the Iraqi government is in all of this? Because that's something you've been very focused on, whether we are really coordinating enough with the Iraqi government so we're not undermining our position with them.
Oh, I think we are. I think right now, to use an old expression, the Iraqi government is the meat in the sandwich between the government of Iraq, the government of Iran, and the United States. And that's where they never wanted to be. They want to be strong, sovereign, and independent. And right now, they're very, very concerned that their country is going to be used as a battlefield, as a proxy battlefield between Iran and the United States.
So, General Kimmitt, General Soleimani, as I understand, was something of a war hero from the Iran-Iraq war. He led that Quds force very effectively, I'd have to say, in very bad ways. Is there a chance that we've degraded their capability by taking him out? Was he that good?
He really was that good. We have a begrudging respect for his capabilities. We have no tolerance for what he's done, but he is a strategic genius. He was a tactical genius. He was an operational genius, and he was the most effective Quds Force commander and, candidly, perhaps one of the strongest Special Forces commander in history. He has been replaced already, but we can't think that cutting off the head of the snake is going to kill the snake. He will be replaced, perhaps by somebody not as good as him, but somebody who at least can keep up the fight that he has been fighting for decades.
Well, as you wargame this out, is there a chance that somebody who's not quite as good as he is actually takes rasher actions?
Could be he takes more timid actions. We just don't know. But right now, things are pretty hot in the region right now, and I would suspect many of the militias, the Iranian-backed militias that you and I, David, have talked about for so long, will take actions on their own because they don't have somebody like Qasem Soleimani who's calibrating and orchestrating the operations.
The Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, has said there's going to be real repercussions for the United States. Let's talk about one of them that you've mentioned before, which is cyber. What are their capabilities in cyber? And in some respects, might that be a way of their retaliating without really escalating it too much?
Oh, I think that's not the case. I think cyber will be quickly identified as coming from the Islamic Republic. They're as likely to use drones. They're as likely to use missiles. They may use their speedboats inside the Persian Gulf to go after the Kuwaiti offshore oil platforms. I think they've got a pretty large menu of capabilities. They may not use it immediately, as Ambassador Pickering has said. It may be some time before they strike, but they will probably strike sooner or later.
What is our situation with our allies? Do we have them on board, whether it's Western Europe or whoever? Have we got a coalition that we can sort of defend against them?
I don't think so. I think at this point, the nations around the world are watching carefully. They're calling for de-escalation. That may be the only point of agreement amongst us. Secretary Pompeo is calling for de-escalation. Everyone is except the Islamic Republic. They feel that they must respond, and hopefully they will listen to the world when the world says, let's pull back, let's de-escalate.
And finally, General, as far as I know, we haven't heard much from Russia. Do we read anything into that? Russia doesn't seem to be pouring gas on the fire.
Not yet. I think the comment that came out of the Chinese was very, very helpful, which is let's try to de-escalate this. I think the Russians understand what's happening in Iraq and what's happening in Syria. They have no great love lost for the Islamic Republic.
Right.
So I think they're keeping their cards pretty close to their chest right now.